Harley Davidson just dropped 5 new bikes for 2026, and they've blown the entire motorcycle industry wide open. From wild redesigns to power upgrades no one expected, these machines have shocked competitors and left riders speechless. In this video, we reveal what makes these new Harleys the most game-changing releases in their history. We're starting our countdown with Bagger GP Series Road Glide, the track monster you can't have but desperately want. This bike is gonna make you realize your weekend track days are basically kindergarten recess compared to what real professionals do when they're not busy making you look like an amateur who learned to ride last Tuesday. Now, before you start reaching for your wallet, calculating loan payments like some kind of mathematical masochist, and wondering if your credit score can handle another devastating blow that'll make your bank account cry, let me stop you right there, because this absolute beauty isn't for sale to regular humans like us, mere mortals who have to work for a living and can't afford to drop 6 figures on a motorcycle. Picture this complete and utter madness that defies all logic, common sense, and probably several laws of physics. Harley took their biggest, heaviest, most comfortable touring bike that your grandfather would ride to Florida while complaining about gas prices and turned it into a 200-plus horsepower track weapon that weighs just 617 pounds and could probably achieve orbit if you hit the throttle hard enough while pointing it skyward. That's like taking your lazy uncle who spends weekends on the couch watching football, eating chips, complaining about his back, and arguing with the television, and turning him into an Olympic sprinter who also happens to bench press small cars for fun while reciting Shakespeare, solving complex mathematical equations, and probably curing cancer in his spare time. These machines are pumping out more power than most supercars from the early 2000s, more torque than a freight train carrying your mother-in-law's opinions, and more attitude than a teenager who just got their driver's license and thinks they know everything about driving, despite having the spatial awareness of a drunk penguin. And they're doing it while looking like they just rolled out of a bagger meetup at your local Cracker Barrel, complete with chrome that's shinier than your future prospects, and paint jobs that cost more than your annual salary, your car payment, and probably your mortgage combined. The engineering behind this transformation is absolutely bonkers and makes rocket science look like finger painting with your non-dominant hand while blindfolded. We're talking about race-prepped suspension components that cost more than most people's entire bikes, their cars, and possibly their houses. Braking systems that could stop a freight train traveling at light speed while carrying the weight of your poor life decisions. Aerodynamics that would make a Formula One engineer weep with joy and question their career choices. And electronics so advanced they probably have their own zip code, social security number, and voting rights. Every single component has been obsessed over by people who clearly have way too much time on their hands, unlimited budgets that would make a small country jealous, and an unhealthy relationship with perfection that borders on mental illness and probably requires therapy. The attention to detail is so extreme that they probably have individual engineers assigned to each bolt, washer, and piece of chrome, all working together in perfect harmony to create something that's less motorcycle and more rolling work of art that happens to go really, really fast. The best part about this whole setup that'll make you laugh and cry simultaneously while questioning your life choices? They're all identical, which means when you inevitably get smoked by some teenager on one of these things during a race weekend, you can't blame the bike, the weather, the track conditions, that breakfast burrito you had that morning, or the fact that you're clearly not as good at this as you thought you were. It's all skill, baby, and apparently you don't have enough of it to compete with people who actually know what they're doing and didn't learn everything they know about racing from video games. But hey, at least you'll look good getting past. And isn't that what really matters when your ego is getting crushed at 150 miles per hour while thousands of people watch and probably post it on social media for the world to see and mock for eternity? This is Harley's partnership with MotoGP. And if that doesn't make you realize they're dead serious about performance, then you probably still think the earth is flat, wrestling is real, your ex is gonna come back, that Nigerian prince really does want to give you money, and that your lottery ticket is definitely gonna win this time. time. The psychological warfare aspect of this move is absolutely brilliant and makes Sun Tzu look like an amateur. For decades, people have been saying Harley can't build performance bikes, that they're all show and no-go, that they're stuck in the past, like your grandfather's record collection, and that they're about as fast as a three-legged turtle running through molasses uphill in a snowstorm. Well, when these baggers start embarrassing Ducatis, Kawasaki's, BMWs, and probably some fighter jets on international racetracks, that narrative's gonna die faster than your bank account after visiting the dealership with a pre-approved loan and questionable impulse control. If you thought wanting a race bike you can't buy was insane, number 4 will make BMW executives cry into their pretzels because Harley will destroy their entire adventure bike empire. We've got the bike that's gonna make every BMW GS owner question their life choices, their financial decisions, their taste in motorcycles, their ability to make rational purchases, and possibly their entire existence on this planet, while wondering why they didn't just buy a Honda Civic like their mother suggested. 2026 CVO Pan America happens when Harley looks at the adventure touring market, laughs maniacally like a supervillain, and says, "Hold my beer while we build something that costs more than your house down payment, makes less sense than pineapple on pizza or putting ketchup on a perfectly good steak, and will probably bankrupt you faster than a gambling addiction in Las Vegas." The Revolution Max 1250 engine is back and angrier than your ex when you forgot your anniversary, your birthday, Valentine's Day, and the anniversary of the day you first met all in the same month, while somehow managing to remember every sports statistic from 1987. This power plant is pumping out enough torque to twist the space-time continuum, rearrange the molecular structure of reality, enough horsepower to make you forget that you're riding a bike that weighs more than some small car, most of your life decisions, and probably your self-esteem combined, and enough attitude to make a Harley owner feel inadequate about their chrome collection and their ability to grow a proper beard. But this isn't just any Pan America that you can walk into a dealership and buy with reasonable financing, a decent credit score, and a functioning relationship with reality. This is the CVO version, which means it's been touched by the premium fairy, blessed by the luxury gods, cursed with a price tag that'll make your accountant cry tears of pure financial terror, baptized in holy water mixed with premium gasoline and the tears of people who can't afford it, and probably blessed by at least 3 different religious figures, just to make sure it's properly sanctified. Here's what's absolutely hilarious about adventure bikes in general, and makes me question humanity's priorities, common sense, and ability to make rational purchasing decisions. 90% of them never see anything more adventurous than a Starbucks parking lot, that one gravel road you accidentally turned down that one time when your GPS was having a mental breakdown and decided to take you on a scenic route through hell, or maybe a dirt driveway if the owner is feeling particularly wild, reckless, and ready to live life on the edge. You're gonna spend 40+ grand on a bike designed to conquer the Sahara Desert, cross the Amazon rainforest, climb Mount Everest, survive a nuclear apocalypse, and probably function as a backup plan for when society collapses and the most off-road action it'll see is when you accidentally ride over a pothole on your way to work, hit a speed bump too fast at the grocery store, or maybe venture onto a gravel parking lot if you're feeling particularly adventurous and your insurance is paid up. But hey, at least you'll look prepared for adventure while you're sitting in traffic, contemplating your life choices, wondering why you didn't just buy a sensible sedan like your mother suggested, and calculating how many years you'll be making payments on this thing, while your actual adventures consist of riding to the mall and back. The CVO treatment means this thing is loaded with more electronics than a NASA space shuttle, more computing power than it took to put a man on the moon and bring him back safely, more features than you'll ever figure out how to use even if you read the manual cover to cover 17 times, and probably more artificial intelligence than most humans possess naturally or acquire through years of education and life experience. You've got ride modes for every possible terrain, including sand, snow, rain, gravel, pavement, grass, mud, concrete, asphalt, dirt, rocks, and probably one for riding on the moon, just in case SpaceX starts offering motorcycle transport services, and you want to be prepared for that inevitable lunar bike night where you'll need to impress aliens with your premium motorcycle choice. The suspension system is so advanced, it can probably predict what kind of road surface you're gonna hit 3 miles ahead, adjust for your weight, your passenger's weight, your emotional baggage, your credit score, your relationship status, and probably your astrological sign while making real-time calculations that would make a supercomputer jealous. It's got more sensors than a paranoid android, more adjustment possibilities than a therapist's couch, and more computing power than most small countries use to run their entire governments, economies, and probably their space programs. Number 4 might catch your eye, but number 3 is the one you can't afford to miss. If you don't understand what Harley just pulled off, you'll be blind to where motorcycle tech is headed next. We've got the bike that's making every other touring motorcycle manufacturer panic buy antacids, update their resumes, seriously consider career changes, and probably question whether they should have gone into accounting instead. The 2026 CVO Road Glide happens when Harley's engineers get unlimited budget, unlimited coffee, unlimited access to the parts bin, unlimited time to obsess over details, and someone whispers, "Make it better" in their ear while they're having fever dreams about the perfect motorcycle and nightmares about their student loan payments that'll follow them to the grave. The Milwaukee 8121 High output VVT engine is pumping out 127 horsepower and 145 foot-pounds of torque, which is enough power to make you forget that you're supposed to be touring comfortably, not drag racing every sport bike you encounter at traffic lights like some kind of middle-aged speed demon with questionable judgment and a need to prove something to strangers. The VVT technology means this engine is literally smarter than most college graduates, automatically adjusting valve timing to optimize performance and efficiency based on what you're doing, how you're doing it, what you had for breakfast, what you're planning for lunch, and probably your astrological sign and credit score. But here's where things get absolutely ridiculous in the best possible way that makes you question everything you thought you knew about motorcycles, technology, and the limits of human engineering. That 12.3-inch Skyline touchscreen. 12.3 inches. That's bigger than most tablets, larger than your first television, more advanced than the computer that got us to the moon, smarter than your average politician, and probably more useful than most of your co-workers. It's sitting right there on your handlebars like some kind of technological monument to excess, and you can probably watch Netflix, order pizza, video chat with your grandmother, file your taxes, run a small business, and possibly control a space station on this thing while doing 70 on the interstate. The adaptive ride height suspension is so advanced, it probably has its own PhD in mechanical engineering, a master's degree in physics, a minor in mind reading, a doctorate in predicting the future, and possibly a law degree, just in case it needs to defend itself in court. It automatically adjusts based on load, riding conditions, road surface, weather patterns, atmospheric pressure, barometric readings, your mood, your passenger's mood, your relationship status, what you had for breakfast, and probably what you're planning to have for dinner, while taking into account your dietary restrictions and food allergies. Because apparently regular suspension that just works, doesn't complain, and gets the job done without drama isn't good enough anymore. You need suspension that thinks for itself, makes executive decisions about your comfort level, judges your riding technique, and probably has opinions about your life choices while it's at it. The system is so sophisticated it could probably run a small country, solve world hunger, cure cancer, and definitely make better life decisions than most humans while simultaneously providing a smooth ride and perfect handling characteristics. The premium touring amenities are absolutely insane and completely over the top in the most beautiful way possible that makes you question why you ever thought you needed money for silly things like food, shelter, and your children's education. We're talking about heated and cooled seats, because apparently your butt needs its own climate control system now. Storage compartments so well designed and organized, they probably have their own personal assistant and filing system, and ergonomics so perfect you'll never want to get off the bike, which is convenient because you'll be riding it for the next 2 decades to pay it off while your credit score slowly recovers from this financial assault. The Rockford Fosgate Premium Audio System is so good, you'll actually be able to hear your financial advisor crying through the speakers as you sign the loan paperwork, your bank account weeping as the money disappears, and your spouse questioning your sanity from 3 states away. The sound quality is so pristine you'll be able to hear every note of your favorite songs, every word of your podcasts, every sob from your wallet, and probably the sound of your credit score dropping in real time. That touring revolution was industry-shaking, but number 2 is sending shockwaves so massive that Ducati engineers are reportedly having panic attacks in their boardrooms. 2026 CVO Street Glide, gonna make every other street cruiser look like a tricycle at a motorcycle rally, a scooter at a drag race, and basically anything else look inadequate by comparison. This machine is what happens when Harley decides to build the perfect street bike, throws the budget out the window like it's confetti at a New Year's party, and money becomes completely irrelevant to the equation. Like Monopoly money, but with real-world consequences for your credit score, your children's college fund, and your retirement plans. That same Milwaukee 8 121 high-output VVT engine is back, still pumping out 127 horsepower and 145 foot-pounds of torque that could probably move mountains if you pointed it in the right direction, level buildings if you're not careful, and definitely rearrange your internal organs if you're not prepared for the acceleration. But now it's wrapped in a package that's designed specifically for street domination and making everyone else feel inadequate about their life choices and probably their general existence on this planet. This isn't a touring bike that can handle the street like some kind of compromise between comfort and performance. This is a street bike that happens to be comfortable enough for touring, and that distinction makes all the difference in the world. Your riding experience and your ability to arrive at your destination with both your dignity and your spine intact. The 12.3-inch touchscreen is still there, still bigger than your first apartment's television, still more advanced than the International Space Station's computer systems, still more intelligent than most government officials, still capable of doing everything except your taxes, explaining to your significant other why you need another motorcycle when you already have 3 in the garage, and possibly achieving world peace through superior user interface design. But now it's optimized specifically for street riding, with navigation that updates faster than your attention span, connectivity features that'll make your smartphone jealous and possibly file for unemployment, and probably enough processing power to run a small country's entire digital infrastructure. The cornering radar and blind spot detection systems are so advanced, they're basically giving you superpowers like Spider-Man's spider sense, but for motorcycles, significantly more expensive than getting bitten by a radioactive spider, and probably more reliable than your average superhero origin story. You'll know about threats before they even know they're threats, which is absolutely crucial because most car drivers are about as aware of motorcycles as they are of quantum physics, string theory, the concept of using turn signals to indicate their intentions, or the fact that other people exist on the road and have the same right to live as they do. The Showa suspension is so perfectly tuned it probably has its own music degree, a deep appreciation for classical compositions, perfect pitch, and possibly the ability to compose symphonies while providing the perfect ride quality. It handles everything from glass-smooth highways to pothole-riddled city streets that look like they've been bombed by enemy forces with the grace of a ballet dancer, the confidence of a prize fighter who's never lost a match, and the precision of a Swiss watchmaker who's had way too much caffeine. The Brembo brakes could probably stop time itself, reverse the rotation of the Earth, prevent global warming, definitely prevent you from making poor financial decisions if you actually used them for that purpose. And assuming you're brave enough to test their limits, they might even be able to stop you from buying this bike in the first place. Though, let's be honest, you're probably too far gone at this point to listen to reason. But let's talk about what really matters here, and what's going to make your neighbors hate you with the burning intensity of 1,000 suns. How you're going to look rolling up to bike night on this absolute masterpiece of American engineering and financial irresponsibility. Every other rider is going to hate you with a passion that burns brighter than the surface of the sun, and every non-rider is going to want to be you with a desperation that borders on pathological and probably requires professional intervention. You'll be the undisputed king of every parking lot, the alpha motorcycle in every group ride, the reason other riders question their life choices, the cause of insurance companies having trust issues and charging higher premiums, and probably the inspiration for at least 17 different midlife crises in your immediate vicinity. The titanium mufflers aren't just for show either. They sound like angels singing. If angels were really into internal combustion engines, had questionable taste in music, enjoyed making noise ordinances cry, and possessed the ability to make grown men weep with joy just from the exhaust note, The sound is so perfect it probably violates several laws of physics, multiple city noise ordinances, at least 3 international treaties regarding acceptable decibel levels, and possibly some religious doctrines about what constitutes heavenly music. This bike represents everything that's right about American motorcycle manufacturing, everything that's beautiful about excess, everything that's dangerous about having access to credit, and everything that's wrong with your decision-making process if you actually buy one of these things without having a trust fund or winning the lottery first. And finally, we reach our number 1, the new bike that will shake the whole industry. This bike's about to be the standard. Miss it, and you will be left behind forever. The 2026 CVO Road Glide ST isn't just a motorcycle, it's a declaration of war against mediocrity, a middle finger to compromise, a love letter to perfection written in chrome and carbon fiber, and a direct assault on your financial stability that'll make your credit score file for witness protection while your bank account seeks therapy. That Milwaukee 8121 high-output engine is back for the 4th time, still pumping out 127 horsepower and 145 foot-pounds of torque that could probably power a small city, level a medium-sized building, and definitely rearrange your understanding of what acceleration means. But now, it's been unleashed in the most perfect package Harley has ever created in their century. Plus of building motorcycles, making questionable design decisions, and separating people from their money. This isn't just a touring bike that happens to be fast. It's not just a street bike that happens to be comfortable. And it's definitely not just a track bike that happens to have saddlebags. It's all 3 wrapped up in one absolutely gorgeous package that'll make you question every motorcycle purchase you've ever made, every life decision that led you to this moment, and possibly your understanding of what constitutes a rational financial decision. Here's where things get absolutely insane in ways that defy logic, common sense, the laws of economics, and probably several international treaties. Track and track, plus ride modes on a touring bike, track modes on a bike with saddlebags, on a machine designed for cross-country comfort. Someone at Harley looked at the concept of compromise, laughed maniacally, and decided it was for other manufacturers who don't understand that you can have everything if you're willing to mortgage your future for it. You can literally ride this thing across the country in complete luxury and comfort, stopping at scenic overlooks to take Instagram photos that'll make your friends jealous, grab overpriced gas station coffee that tastes like disappointment, and contemplate the poor life choices that led you to spend this much money on a motorcycle, then hit a track day and embarrass sport bike riders who spent half as much on machines designed specifically for racing and nothing else. It's like having a Swiss Army knife where every tool is perfectly crafted, costs more than most people's cars, and probably requires a PhD to operate properly. The track mode transforms this luxury tourer into a precision instrument of speed and handling that would make a surgeon jealous, a Formula One driver weep with envy, and probably violate several laws of physics in the process. The suspension firms up like it's been hitting the gym, taking protein supplements, and following a strict workout regimen designed by professional athletes. The throttle response sharpens to razor-edge precision that would make a samurai sword jealous, and suddenly you're not riding a comfortable cruiser anymore. You're piloting a missile with really nice paint, premium leather appointments, and a sound system that costs more than most people's annual salary. The Track Plus mode takes things even further into the realm of absolute madness, basically telling all the electronic nannies to take a coffee break, go on vacation, and maybe consider early retirement while you explore the outer limits of physics, common sense, your insurance policy's fine print, and your ability to maintain control of a machine that's clearly more capable than you are. The carbon fiber components aren't just there to look pretty, though they absolutely do that job with the dedication of a supermodel at a photo shoot, the precision of a Swiss watchmaker, and the attention to detail of someone with severe OCD and unlimited time. These pieces are functional works of art, reducing weight while increasing strength, making everything look like it belongs on a MotoGP bike that somehow got lost and ended up in a luxury touring motorcycle, and probably costing more per square inch than gold, platinum, or your firstborn child's college education. You're getting aerospace technology on a street bike, because apparently regular materials that have worked perfectly fine for decades aren't good enough for people who can afford to spend this much on two wheels and still have money left over for premium gasoline, insurance payments that would make a small country's GDP look reasonable, and the therapy you'll need to deal with the guilt of spending this much money on a motorcycle. The cornering ABS system is so advanced it probably has its own artificial intelligence, a PhD in physics, a master's degree in motorcycle dynamics, and possibly a better understanding of cornering than you do, despite years of riding experience and watching YouTube videos. It monitors lean angle, speed, brake pressure, tire temperature, road surface conditions, weather patterns, atmospheric pressure, your heart rate, your stress levels, your credit score, and probably your relationship status to ensure you can brake hard even when you're dragged over in a corner like you're auditioning for a motorcycle magazine cover shoot. The traction control works in perfect harmony with everything else to keep you upright and moving forward, even when you're being way too optimistic with that throttle. Your riding skills are clearly not up to the task, and physics is trying its best to remind you that gravity is still a thing. It's like having a professional riding instructor built into your bike. Except this one won't lecture you about target fixation, proper cornering technique, the importance of wearing proper gear, or why you probably shouldn't have bought a bike this expensive in the first place. But here's what really sets this bike apart from everything else on the planet and makes it worth selling vital organs to afford: the wireless connectivity that makes your smartphone look like a telegraph from the 1800s. Your laptop seem like an abacus, and your home computer appear to be powered by hamsters running on wheels. Over-the-air updates mean your bike gets better while you sleep, adding new features and capabilities without you having to do anything except dream about your next ride, worry about your monthly payments, and wonder if you'll ever financially recover from this purchase. Don't get caught up in the hype and overspend. Click the next video to discover the motorcycles experienced riders are actually choosing.